Welcome back into the Pig Trail Show. Evan Kamiko alongside Kevin McPherson. This is your Hog Hoops Report. Kevin, it's been a busy week in the world of Arkansas men's basketball this season, slowly inching closer and closer. The Hogs scrimmaged in Hot Springs last week, and then after that, there was SEC Media Days, TB, Coach Cal, DJ Wagner all hanging out in Birmingham, and we've got one visitor coming to town. We'll touch on all that, but Kevin, first let's start in chronological order. We'll go with last weekend in the scrimmage in Hot Springs. 5 guys scored over 18-plus points. Really good showing for the Razorbacks. You were there. What'd you make of the day?
Yeah, 40 minutes worth of scrimmaging, broken up into two 20-minute segments, changed some jerseys around, split the squad up a few different ways, going from the first 20 minutes to the final. It's considering we didn't get a whole lot of video highlights from practices in June and July, or since the team returned to campus back in August for the fall semester. The media got a 1-hour window back in early July. We had, a prime time at the Palace scrimmage that was 8 minutes with no defense a couple of weeks ago. You had a pro day that was televised. That was pretty cool. But this scrimmage was by far and away the most that we've seen. I mean, if you add up what we could watch and, from that scrimmage, everything else combined wasn't even close. And so we got our best glimpse. And here's the thing, you're playing against yourself still. It's like practice in a sense, because they're going 5-on-5, 4-on-4, doing live contact work all the time where we don't see it. The next thing up is an exhibition game against somebody else. But as far as the scrimmage goes, I had my takeaways were stronger in a positive way than what later came out from John Calipari 2 days later at SEC Media Days. I know we're going to talk about that, but I was really impressed with Arkansas's front line, the big three, Trevor Brazile, Nick Pringle, Malik Ewan. In fact, 2 of those guys got double-doubles. Brazile 1 rebound away from a double-double. I thought Carter Knox at both ends was probably the best player on Sunday down in Hot Springs, making plays at both ends. And then you saw really good things from Arkansas's 3-headed backcourt, DJ Wagner, the veteran, Darius Acuff Jr., Malik Thomas, the 2 freshmen. If anybody had an off day, it might have been Billy Richmond III, which I don't worry about. This is an energy guy. He's versatile defensively. You don't need to see him score a bunch of points to know how he's going to plug in and help you. And then the other freshman, Isaiah Sealy, if you thought, does Arkansas go 9 deep? He showed a lot. He showed a lot in that scrimmage to maybe give the idea to resonate with you that, yeah, if Arkansas needs to turn, if they need a 9th guy. Remember, the team went 9 deep last year in its true top 2 rotation before injuries started to shrink down those numbers and attrition. This team has probably got a top 8 when you look at it and say, okay, game to game, I know all 8 of these guys are going to play. They're going to get their minutes. They're going to have impact. Is there that 9th guy? If there is, it's going to be Isaiah Sealy, the 6'7" wing from the in-state in Springdale, Arkansas, true freshman. So I liked what I saw, Evan, but I can't wait till we talk about, SEC Media Days and some of the things Calipari said, because that kind of caught me off guard, to be honest. But then when it sunk in about 5 minutes after I heard it, I'm like, okay, I know what's going on here.
Yeah, we'll definitely get there in a second. Like you kind of mentioned, Sealy had 14 points. He looked pretty good. He continues, and you saw him a little in primetime in the Palace. It felt like he was making a lot of plays during the, let's call it soft exhibition there. So it's fun to see him develop, and a local guy, like you've said, you love seeing in-state talent stay in-state and produce, and I think Sealy is going to be really good. Maybe not necessarily this year, but definitely down the line in his sophomore and junior year. There's no reason why he can't develop into something. I don't say like a Duke Hero because they're very different players, but that idea of, hey, in a couple of years, he might be knocking on the door to get drafted in the NBA.
Yeah, it's interesting. I have several NBA scouts who are sources for me, but they're also people I just talk to all the time about the NBA game, how the transition, all these players in college and at Arkansas are trying to make to that next level. And an NBA scout told me, I think it was 3 years ago, after watching Isaiah Sealy play in a tournament with Springdale down in Dallas, Fort Worth area. He came out of that, called me immediately, goes, who's this Isaiah Sealy kid? He's like a sophomore. He goes, I think he's a future pro maybe. He told me that. I've talked about that at times. Mm-hmm. So, he's showing glimpses of the kind of player that he can become. Yeah. And I like the Hero comparison because it took him 3 years. Now, he had a growth spurt, but, there was a maturation along the way, and we don't know what the time frame for a guy like Sealy to make that happen is. But you don't have to be a one and done. to have an impact, whether it's on the court every game, in practice, making other guys better, but a combination of things as you get stronger, continue to get better off the ball for
Yeah.
Sealy. Needs to learn how to play a little better off the ball, cut down on some of the mental mistakes and turnovers. Most freshmen go through this despite the fact that you wish they were further along right now. That's just part of them. But this guy's got a real chance to be something. When you talk about retention for Calipari as part of his plan to build his rosters every year, this is one of those guys to keep an eye on for sure.
Absolutely. Kevin, last thing about the Hot Springs exhibition before we move on to talk a little bit about SEC Media Days. I want to bring up the front court because we know Nick Pringle and Malik Ewan are going to be really special for this Arkansas team. Both of them had 19 plus points. If I'm going to read this just to make sure I get this right. So if I'm looking away, it's because I'm reading stats right now. Ewan, 19 points, 12 boards, a double-double. Nick Pringle, another double-double for him as well. 22 points, 10 boards. Both of these guys, we saw them in the summer. They looked really impressive. What stood out to me about Ewan was he's able to make shots from behind the arc and really stretch the floor. Curious for you, where do you like that with the front court? And even having Carter Knox potentially being a big guy. We saw Carter play the 4, TB. Both of those guys can play the 3. There's a lot of big options for this Arkansas team this upcoming year that's going to be really exciting. But where do you like about the front court, and especially those 2 transfers?
Well, what I like is I think Arkansas is going to be a better rebounding team than they were a year ago. There's more physicality when you look at a guy like Pringle. And, Ewan might not be the most physical guy, but he just has a nose for the ball, especially on the offensive glass. And both of those guys were all over the offensive glass on Sunday in Hot Springs. I think Arkansas is not – they don't have the shot blocking that they had last year on that front line, so that's maybe a giveaway. The other question mark I really have is depth, but I think because of the versatility, whether it's on defense for Pringle, offense for Ewan, and then we know Trevor Brazil's versatile – that 3-headed monster at your 4-5, you can rotate those guys, and it's not as much of a glaring problem unless you suffer injuries, which is what we know this team went through last year. Somehow the team got better through attrition. Explain that to me, but they did. But you can't count on that formula every year if you start having injuries. Oh, that's okay. We'll actually get better. That worked out last year somehow, but I don't know. And when you recruit such quality across the board, it helps you deal with attrition, right? But you don't want that to be a formula for success. So I do have a question mark there. You asked me what I liked. It's the versatility defensively of Pringle, the versatility offensively of Ewan as the newcomers, and then both of them are strong rebounders, and there's more physicality. The other thing is, Big Z in that top 3 rotation on the bigs last year had only played 15 games. He really needed to be a development player and not so much a guy you counted on. Both Ewan and Pringle are veterans, man. They've been around the block. They've been guys that have been featured one way or another, offense or defense. Especially Pringle helping Alabama get to a Final Four 2 years ago and being an SEC veteran. I just think that this is a better collectively front line, especially with Brazil and the light coming on for him in the last 9 games last year and what we've seen in the preseason. I really like this front court. Which is, again, when we get to the SEC Media Days and the things that Calipari talked about, I think he pumped the brakes a little bit on all the enthusiasm. He curbed his enthusiasm, if you will.
Hey, that's a great Larry David reference right there. Well, stick around on the other side of the break. We're going to be talking exactly that. Don't go anywhere. The Hog Hoops Report returns right after this. Back here on the Hogs Hoops Report, Evan Kamiko, Kevin McPherson hanging out with you on this Sunday. Kevin, let's talk about it. We teased it in the first block. Let's talk about it right here. And that is none other than SEC Media Days. You said you're excited to talk about it, so I'll let you jump right in. What stood out to you about Coach Cal, DJ Wagner, and TB, and what they had to say in Birmingham?
Well, coming out of that, being so excited about all these individual performances on Sunday, then Monday, the AP comes out with its rankings, Arkansas 14th. I've said a lot. They'll be between 10 and 15, no shock there. But on Monday, the SEC media projected Arkansas 5th. And if you looked at the AP rankings, Arkansas was 3rd amongst 6 SEC teams that were ranked, Florida and Kentucky just ahead. But the SEC media had Arkansas 5 spots in the 5th spot. So 2 teams ranked below them in the AP poll that came out earlier that day, actually ranked ahead in the pecking order in the finish for the SEC. Nothing earth-shattering there other than you got to think maybe the SEC media is downplaying the strength of this Arkansas team, the best retention in the league. Calipari has talked so highly about this team at every opportunity, how he thinks he's going to have a team that could be special. He said that in his intro at Primetime at the Palace. It's been nothing but positive. He really hasn't gone to the negative. So the thing that really stood out to me at SEC Media Days is when Calipari first steps to the podium, and I'm thinking, okay, after what I've been hearing from him, what I saw in Hot Springs, and then to see the SEC order of finish projection, what's he going to say? Because is he going to do the Rodney Dangerfield, we get no respect line? No, he jumps out and said, well, we just had a scrimmage on Sunday, and what's one rung above a debacle? What's one spot above a
Yeah.
debacle? And I'm like, okay, I guess he agrees with the SEC media right now as of today. That's the first thing that was on the, that was just the first thing he
Yeah.
has said about this team below the equator, right? Everything else has been,
Yeah.
I scheduled a tough schedule because I think we're built for it. We got the retention. We got, and the Arkansas returns more scoring and other things in the SEC than anybody else, yet you get picked fifth. And then Calipari, the things he talked about, he had questions during SEC Media Days about the front line, about all the missed rebound opportunities.
Yeah.
He's got some real questions, and it wasn't like the team was perfect on Sunday. I've identified some of the problem areas as well, but man, this was a significant pumping of the brakes. Yeah, he's earned himself. If there's ever another season of Curb Your Enthusiasm, he auditioned for some guest cameo role on that. That was perfect, perfectly in line with some of the. Because if you're a fan base looking at again some of the projections coming out, the All SEC teams, you get two players, by the way, DJ Wagner and Carter Knox picked third team. Okay. I thought maybe a little low for Knox, maybe second team, if not first team for him, but okay. But most of the things coming out of the league leading up to the podium opportunities for the coaches, you're thinking Arkansas slept on, and the coach comes out and does a little sleeping himself, And I think, Evan, he's got to pump the brakes. He's got to get players to check themselves. Hearing all these great things about the team and all this, I think he's trying to get their attention because there were things. He sat right beside me in Hot Springs at the media table and was barking at the team throughout. And even when plays went well, there was one or two guys that missed an assignment. And even though the play finished well, those are the kind of breakdowns that can cost you when you're playing an opponent. You can't assume, it'll be okay that we'll finish the play most of the time. Not necessarily. So I think there is a lot of it when they went back and looked at film of all that extended scrimmage work on Sunday. And then he's chirping about it at media day.
A little bit of curb your Razorback enthusiasm. We can find a way to
I'm beating that to death.
Curb your enthusiasm with this Arkansas Razorback team. Kevin, that might be our running gag this entire year. I think we're going to stick with that. But I loved it because I ran that as a cold open, I believe, on Wednesday night when I was anchoring here. And I was like, man, that's hilarious that everything we've heard about this team is, hey, they're good. We are excited. We're good. And then all of a sudden it's like Cal just goes up there and be like, yeah, man, it was a debacle. And then you read the stats and it's like, is it really a debacle? But what's interesting again is it's kind of something that almost mirrors the opposite of football, right? With the football team, there are little details that they're missing, and how these teams are the best in the conference is because those little details, because you're nagging on, hey, just because we did that play correctly and we missed an assignment, that means that everything's okay. No, it shouldn't. You want to be perfect for all 11, whether that's on a football field or on a basketball court. You want to be perfect for all 11. So hearing that kind of Cal slow the roll and say all of these guys, even if we missed an assignment, they need to be better, because that's how you ultimately go out and make a run in March and make a run and go to April and play for the national title, is by having all 5 guys on the court know their assignment, not miss anything, and be successful at the end of the season. The little things now are going to help them a long way. Curious too, Cal did touch on DJ Wagner, said that he needs DJ to take another step forward. What did you think of those comments, and especially with DJ and how he can get better now being the true leader of this Arkansas team?
Well, he was asked about EJ, so he responded. It wasn't like he went there,
Right.
except he was led there. And sometimes that happens. I think he had 3 questions at the podium from Kentucky beat writers, and that was the one guy they knew to ask about, because DJ's the guy he still has that played a year at Kentucky. But he did. He said, I'd like to see him be a little more assertive offensively, getting his own, that he's going to facilitate. I think this is a big, preseason all SEC third team. That's quite an honor. DJ was a big reason why Arkansas was able to turn the season around last year. You need to see him take care of the better of the basketball. He struggled with some unforced turnovers, just kind of some mental lapses at that lead guard spot. You want to see him add a little bit more than just the drive all the way to the basket game. And increase his percentage if he can. He's a career 30% shooter from three. Get that up if he can. 33 to 35% would be great. Is there a mid-range game in there where he doesn't have, but his get all the way to the basket craft going left or right is really good. And so you want to see that. And I think he's a willing facilitator. I think just kind of cleaning up. And you've got two freshman guards in that backcourt, Acuff and Malik Thomas. So they're looking to him for some leadership and kind of show the way as they, dip their toes into real basketball at this level because they've been playing against each other. That gets old after a while, and you start to think one thing, and now you're going to every time you go out now, it's going to be somebody else. They got different strengths. It's a different scouting report. That's a lot for true freshmen. DJ Wagner is going to have to be a leader in not only verbally or by example, but he's going to have to go out and produce and be efficient as much as he can be and kind of cut down again on the mistakes because they're going to be true freshmen making their share of mistakes as they learn the ropes.
Absolutely. It's going to be exciting to see how these guys develop, but they really get their first test against people not wearing the Arkansas jersey. That's going to come up on Friday of this upcoming week. Cincinnati comes to town. The Bearcats hoping to have a bounce back year. Been down the last couple of years, hoping to trend in the right direction. What do you make of this exhibition? What are you going to keep your eye on, especially as the Hogs take on the Bearcats Friday night at Bud Walton Arena?
Well, Cincinnati's had a bounce-back exhibition game already. Went on the road 2 nights ago and upset number 7 Michigan. Now it's exhibition play, but 198. They built an 18-point halftime lead in Ann Arbor. So road game for Cincy. It's a good team. What's weird is that Michigan's problems in that game were rebounding, three-point shooting, defending three-point shooting, and turnovers. All of those check boxes of problem areas Arkansas had last year as a team. You brought back 4 key retention pieces. You built around that. You're trying to improve on the rebounding and some of that. You got to clean up the turnovers. But Cincinnati is going to be a good test. Already gone on the road and again beat the 7th-ranked team, Arkansas's preseason 14. This time of year, we saw wins over Purdue and Kansas, respectively, the previous 2 years. Arguably the 2 best teams in the country coming into the season. And Arkansas wins those games, and it was no reflection of the kind of team Arkansas was. So you have to take these exhibition results, obviously, with a grain of salt. But Arkansas would like to obviously win at home in front of what should be a really good crowd. You've got a visitor coming in. We'll talk about that. But I think Cincinnati presents a good challenge for Arkansas, and it may not be the sexy name like Purdue and Kansas were, but it's a Big 12 school, and the Big 12's no slouch, and I know Cincinnati's been down the last couple of years, but they've got a really good freshman, Sean Abayev, who visited Arkansas a year ago. So big 6'6" lefty wing and shoot the three, slash to the basket. They've got a Kirk Krissa. Those guys combined for 7 of the 12 threes that Cincinnati made in that game. So this will be a good test, and I'm interested to see. Calipari says, if you don't have a low post game, you're a fraud. Let's see to me, Malik Ewan's probably the guy. Mm-hmm. If you're going to post someone up back to the basket that you would throw the ball into, or let him work his way down because he can handle it off the wing and back a guy down and get around the basket. Let's see how much of a fraud Arkansas's low post game is in this exhibition game, because that's the one thing Calipari keeps talking about lately, and something he said on Pro Day 2 weeks ago that we haven't really worked a whole lot on yet.
Absolutely, Kevin. We're going to take one last break here on the Hogs Hoops Report. When we come back, we're talking Arkansas high school recruiting and the visitor on his way to the Hill this upcoming weekend. Stick around. More Hog Hoop Report with Kevin McPherson after the break. Back here wrapping up the Hogs Hoops Report with Kevin McPherson. I'm Evan Camico. Kevin, we've talked about it already. Arkansas got a visitor this week. Who's coming to the Hill? Who you got and what you got on him?
Baba Aladat, top 10 rated 5-star. Out of the Baltimore, Maryland area, 6'10" combo forward. He was the number 1 rated player in the class of 2027, Evan. And in the summer, after Nike Peach Jam played out, and it was talked about, conjecture was he's going to reclass to 2026. And sure enough, he did. But Calipari had been recruiting him for quite a while with the understanding before a lot of people knew and realized this was going to happen, recruiting him much longer with the idea he's probably going to reclass. So he's kind of had an angle there to recruiting for this class. We know Arkansas's already got 2 commitments in the 2026 class. Had several visitors on campus, a bunch of other five-star guys. We know that. Then there's been kind of a several-week break between visits, and Bob Oladotin's next up this coming weekend. He'll be able to attend. The plan is he'll attend that Cincinnati exhibition game. Then on Saturday, that's Friday night, the 24th. Then on Saturday, the 25th, Arkansas football Hogs host Auburn, so he'll be able to attend that. But the idea here is Calipari's trying to close on this. Now, Oladotin has already visited Virginia Tech, where his dad played back in the 90s. He took a visit to the home state school, Maryland. Some people think Buzz Williams and the Terrapins are the leader there. Georgetown, he took a visit there in his backyard. And then this weekend, today, wrapping up an official visit to Kentucky. So this is a situation where Calipari has really pursued him as a priority target for 2026. Again, even knowing when he was still in 27. But this is a versatile 6'10 guy. There's some comparisons to Kevin Durant because of the perimeter skill. I'm not ready to go there yet. I mean, maybe at the same stage, there's some similarities. And from that DC area, it's kind of makes sense why they try to compare him to Durant. But as he gets stronger, I think he'll be a 3-4 combo in the college level. So a stretch 4, you could also say. So he would be a frontline piece if you can get him, but that's a big, important official visit. And as far as I know, Arkansas is getting the last official visit for Oladotin with the early November signing period just around the corner, the 12th through the 19th. And Arkansas is hoping to get a guy like Erfan Diane, a 7'1 center out of Iowa United Prep. Just visited Indiana this weekend. Houston next weekend when Oladotin's on Arkansas's campus. And then he's a guy that's expected to make an announcement early in time for that early November period. And then Arkansas's on 3 top 5-star rated guards. Jordan Smith Jr., Caleb Holt, Brandon McCoy Jr., all 3 of those guys have already visited Arkansas, taken other visits. They're all 3 talking about potentially waiting until the spring signing period. So you're trying to get as many. You've already got J.J. Andrews and Abdou Toure committed, 2 wings. You got that position taken care of, a 5-star and a top 34-star in Toure, 5-star J.J. Andrews out of Little Rock Christian Academy. So you got 2 wrapped up, and you're trying to get at least 1 more in time for the early period. You'd love to sew up a couple more if you could to get to 4 by the early period. But Calipari may be in it for the long haul on some of these guys that he's made priority for more than a year in terms of the guys that may go ahead and stick it out, see what happens with your roster, see what's going on with the transfer portal, and then make a commitment announcement in the spring.
It's fun to see the emphasis for Cal. It's been so much of, hey, we'll go to the transfer portal all around, but still going after the high school guys, still sticking to his core. Kevin, anything else we missed before we go?
No, did we make any? Did I fail to make a Curb Your Enthusiasm reference? If not, we need to work that in.
Yeah, we're gonna have to work that next week. I'm gonna have to do some research.
Oh, we had plenty. I thought we had plenty. I
thought we had a few. We had a few. We'll work some more Curb references in throughout the season. As always, big thanks to Kevin McPherson for hopping on. That's gonna do it for the Hog Hoops Report. More Pig Trail Show coming back after the break. Stick around.